Just to sum up the last 1.5 weeks, we have charged another 3 times. One was in my hometown Stargard at KFC just before I went on a single charge to my wife's place, and that was done at KFC Greenway Charger while eating not so fast food because it managed to actually charge to 95% before we finished our food. Then we charged once in Olsztyn while going back from water park in there, and that was just a 12 minutes top up to get us home. The next charging session was actually in Bartoszyce's, our usual Greenway charger, and that's when I found out something important about this charger. Yeah, I've been charging with this cable. Yeah, there are 2 cables here. There's one here, this one that I've been using for the last 5 weeks, and there's another one, slightly different one, but with a bigger, you can see like the difference between the cables. And yeah, I felt like it doesn't matter, yeah, because I've noticed that before, but I felt like it doesn't matter. And yeah, and just to try it out, I was like, well, why not to charge it up with this? I'd see if it's going to make any difference to the speed. And it turns out it does make a lot of difference, because it's charging now with the 147, so 150, which is the full speed of 150. Yeah. I've been wasting quite a lot of time here, charging at half of the speed. I feel stupid now, to be honest. Shame I didn't, notice that before. So yeah, well, there you go. 148 at 21%. It's gonna take me, well, 25 minutes, which is not bad. And here we are. 1 month later, we are charging to get back to UK. However, we're gonna split it in 2 halves, well, 1/3 and 2/3, because we're gonna go to my place, which is near German border, as you probably know by now, and yeah, we're gonna go from there to UK straight. So this part, which is from my wife's place to, oh, there you go, it's cooling probably. From my wife's place to my place, we could do on one single charge, but we're gonna stop probably in the middle because kids probably won't make it at one go to sit for 6.5 hours. So we're gonna just stop in the middle for a little toilet break and things like that. So it's fully packed. It's fully packed. Everything is inside. We did well with packing, so we have around 7 hours to actually get to my place, so it should be fine. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. See ya. So 135 miles done quite nicely, no issues at all. We stopped there for 29 minutes. We charged it up while obviously walking the dog, using the toilet, and we had some little lunch as well. After that, we went to my hometown. We arrived to KFC Greenway Charger again with another 6% spare. And again, it took actually quite a long time to actually serve us the food, and by the time we eaten everything, the car was charged to 90%. During our stay there, we went to visit my friend. It was actually quite convenient because he lives quite close to the supercharger, so we topped it up quite quickly on the way back, and that was it. That lasted us for the next few days, and on the day to go back to UK, we had 850 miles to go. We've started with 27% early in the morning. That wasn't enough to get us to the supercharger in Germany, so we had to stop in Szczecin again to top it up. That was one out of not many actually supercharging sessions where we didn't do anything. We just sit there and waited for a car to be charged. We obviously walked the dog, but that was it. So I've planned to stop at the next supercharger 198 miles away. However, and we have a first stop unplanned because Tesla used quite a lot of energy. This time it was like 3 miles, just over 3 miles per kilowatt hour. So we did on a 65%. We did only 120 miles. So not too great, but well, it's a bit cold. It's cold start. So yeah, quick charge, and off we go. It's supposed to be a quick top up. However, this location is a theme park, which is nice. I love discovering new theme parks. Obviously, we didn't have time to actually spend a little bit more time there. However, when we were walking the dog, we noticed that people are going inside and they coming out with strawberries. So we thought like, we could have some strawberries for a journey, why not? So we went inside and then we discovered that there is not only a theme park there, there is also a huge shop that sells products made out of local strawberries. There is everything you need there, from sweets, jams, marmalade, to clothing and alcohol as well. Everything. There is also a restaurant and a bakery. We have spent about 40 euros there, and in that time Tesla has charged to 95%. It was well worth visiting. Even if you don't have an EV, just stop there and enjoy the strawberries in the summer, or just local products made out of strawberries. Unfortunately, our Tesla was still using more energy than usual for some reason, so we managed to do only 136 miles on about 67% of the battery. So far, the journey didn't go as planned. However, this supercharger again is nicely located next to a really tasty coffee shop with plenty of chocolates and sweets and a little playground for kids as well. I went to get some sweets and coffee, and in that time Tesla got charged more than we needed. After this, our energy usage got back to normal of around 256 watt-hours per mile, so we were able to do nearly 200 miles, which got us to Moers supercharger in Germany. It is very near Netherlands border, so very close to France and Calais. This charger is next to a hotel and there is nothing interesting around it, and there is not even a shop or a toilet nearby. You have to just get inside a hotel and ask to use the toilet. After 25 minutes we were ready to go. Journey was fine and the energy usage was good too. Next stop was in Belgium, and this time it was actually a 10-minute quick top up only, which was enough to get us to Calais. We only had just over 100 miles to go to Calais, and that journey went well, just like the other ones, to be honest. No issues at all, without any problems. Once we got to the Calais, we plugged it into the Tesla superchargers over there, and we just went inside to have some food and drinks and just the usual stuff. Then the train got delayed a little bit. It wasn't too much of a problem, so the car just got charged to 90% in that time. It was just more than enough to get us back home. 2 Teslas. Tesla there. Tesla there. And there are a few Teslas over there as well. And the last part of this journey to get back home to UK, Folkestone to Southampton, it just went quite well as well, no issues at all. The average speed was about 56 miles per hour because of the speed limits on the UK motorways are slightly different than on the mainland in the Europe, but the average consumption was 243, so that's really good. That's over 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which for the fully loaded car with everything inside, it is actually quite good. And we made it back to UK without any problems, without any issues, so that's all good. Now let's go through all the stats, because there are quite a lot of stats in here and I think they are quite important as well, yeah. So I've got this spreadsheet here to help me out a little bit, so there are lots of stats to remember. Okay, so let's start from this. So we've done 4,811 miles. We've charged 1,494 kilowatt hours, and that was done throughout the whole 43 stops. Okay, so technically we were stopping every 112 miles, and we've charged 35 kilowatt hours of energy every single time. average cost, that was 37.5p, which goes total to £587.71 spent on charging. Plus we have to add £16.81 for subscriptions for the Greenway charger in Poland, and that adds up to £604.52. Okay, average time charging, that was 26.5 minutes, just over 26.5 minutes. Average charging power was just over 83 kilowatts. Total energy used for driving was 1234. So there's a difference between charged and driven miles energy consumption, so I'll get to that later. We've spent 19 hours and 5 minutes charging this car. The average energy consumption is 256.5 watt hours per mile, which gives us about 3.9 miles per kilowatt hours, which is actually amazing because in most cases the car was actually fully loaded. Now let's break it down, all those stats, into pieces. So yeah, he spent so much time charging. Okay, so we stopped 43 times, and that sounds like a lot, and it is quite a lot to be honest. Like, when I'm thinking about it, even if I like this car, 43 stops, that's a lot, yeah. And when I see the stats for how long those stops were on average, which is like 26.5 minutes, plus the overall was like 19 hours, just over 19 hours. So that sounds like a lot, and it doesn't get any better when you take a look at how much mileage was between each stop on average. So that was like 112 miles only. So yeah, it doesn't look good for Tesla. However, and that's a really big however, because on the go, like on the big trip, like we went from UK to Poland or from France to Germany and things like that, we were stopping about like probably around 150, 160 miles probably on average. Yeah, there were quite a few occasions where we've done like 190 miles on a single charge. However, many occasions we had to stop a little bit early because one of our kids wanted to go to toilet, or I wanted to go to toilet, or my wife wanted to go to toilet, or the dog wanted to go to toilet. So yeah, I think the longest that we've driven together was probably about like just over 3 hours, and that was probably about like 190 miles. Okay, with an average speed of 60 miles an hour, just over 60 miles an hour. So yeah, it's you know, it doesn't look that bad. And when we were at my place or at my wife's place, we were basically just charging wherever we went to shopping or to go to restaurants or anything like that. So we had a little bit more time, and the car was charging, and we didn't lose that time for just sitting and doing nothing. So from that 19 hours, we spent probably about 2.5 hours just sitting and doing nothing. Yeah, just scrolling through the Facebook on the phone, or just playing at the infotainment in the car. Yeah, like playing the games, because there are quite nice ones. Okay, like watching a YouTube as well. And yeah, it's not that bad actually. It didn't feel like we were stopping every now and then, and we had to charge the car because it just drained the battery really quickly. It was just a normal kind of it just go to kind of like at the beginning it was a little bit scary because we didn't know how the car was going to behave and things like that. However, at the end it was quite natural. Like, we went to the shopping, there was a charger there, plugged it in, went to shopping, get back, car's charged. Simple. Yeah, like we went to KFC. By the time the KFC was served and we eaten everything, the car was like charged to 90%. So again, it's really not that inconvenience at all. How many times do you have like that you have to go from A to B like 1,000 miles on a single go and without much stopping? Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so I've traveled quite a lot throughout the Europe in my life. I've done like a lot of miles. Yeah, so overall I've done like 700,000 miles at work as a HGV driver, and in my private cars as well, 1,000 miles in Europe. So yeah, I know that stops are quite necessary for your own safety, for the safety of your family as well. And yeah, like those stops, they were brilliant. Yeah. That's what you do basically on a vacation. Yeah, you just visit places, and as you notice, we've discovered few really nice superchargers here, like with the pizza. The pizza was actually great. We charged like to 90% there, even though we didn't need that. The car was actually waiting for us, because by the time we had that break, the car was actually fully charged and I had to move my car. Yeah, the sweets in Belgium were absolutely amazing. The sweets in Germany as well, you know, like it was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, you know, like Strawberry World, you know, the Gigafactory in Berlin. You know, it's something that, you know, you don't experience it when you're driving, you know, petrol and diesel car. We've never visited those kind of places. We never went to a coffee shop or a sweet shop or theme park with a strawberry selection and things like that. It's like it never happened, because at the motorway services you don't get that. You just refuel and off you go. Yeah, and I think like those 43 stops were actually quite good. And I think, like, you know, like, don't be scared if you're thinking about getting an EV. Don't be scared. Yeah, driving in Europe, especially in a Tesla, when you have like superchargers across the like, you know, the whole Europe, it's not a problem. There's plenty of other chargers available as well with a really good price. And yeah, and speaking of the money, so next thing, money. Okay, so money. Okay, let's talk about the money. So we've spent £587 for charging, plus about £16.81 for subscription for the Greenway charger. That adds up to £604 worth of charging, basically, in the whole trip, 4,811 miles. The average price for kilowatt hours was about 37.5p, which is actually quite good. So we didn't feel like we're spending a lot of money on charging. You know, like, you have those comments online where like, oh yeah, if you're going to use the public chargers, you're going to spend even more than my diesel or petrol engine car. So to compare this to my old Skoda, poor old Skoda, if we would spend the money that we spend on this car to buy this car on Skoda and to repair it, we would probably just go in our Skoda. That Skoda had 1.8 TSI 7-speed DSG gearbox. It was quite thirsty for the fuel. Fully loaded, it did 42 miles per gallon basically, and I know that because we've done the same trip 3 times in the last like 3 years. So it wasn't too great, but it wasn't too bad either. Yeah, so it was sort of like average. If I assume that average price for fuel would be like £1.35, that would give us about £700 worth of fuel. So that's £100 more than energy for this car, which is good, is it? £100 savings, yeah. But I can imagine some people say, yeah, but my car does like 50 or 55 miles per gallon on average, yeah. And some cars nowadays they can do even 60 miles per gallon on average. However, 60 miles per gallon, this size car, nah, that's not gonna happen unless you're gonna drive like a you know, like 40-50 miles an hour on the motorways. That's not gonna happen if you're gonna drive to speed limits, just like we did, just like I did with the Skoda or anything like that. That's gonna give you probably like 50-55 miles per gallon maximum. Yeah, you know, there's not many cars that can do 4 seconds to 60 and does 50 miles per gallon. Seriously, like, there's no cars like that. Unfortunately, there's no cars like that. Hybrids nowadays, sure, why not? Yeah, but pure diesel and petrol car, it's not like that. It's definitely not like that. And 50 miles per gallon, that's about kind of like the same price for the fuel than in here as well. So yeah, the comments are usually like that. Yeah, so you're gonna spend a lot of money on energy when you're using the public chargers, but no, you're not. Yeah, you've like, in most cases, like Ionity in Europe or the Greenway charger in Poland and some other chargers, they have those subscriptions that you can actually drop the price down. In Poland, we actually, you know, we had that 60 kilowatt hours of free energy as well. So, you know, that's amazing. Yeah, so like about nearly one full battery we've done for free. absolutely for free. So absolutely amazing. I wish to say like, yeah, this was an expensive trip, yeah, because of the public charging on it, but it wasn't. It was just like normal car, to be honest. It was even cheaper than a normal car. It didn't, like, you know, when you see the stats like £600 and £700 for the for the Skoda, that sort of like, you know, it's sort of like, it feels like a normal car. It doesn't feel like it's a different car. It's going to be more expensive to run, more expensive to charge. Sure, it's going to be more, you're going to spend more time on charging. However, you're not going to spend that time sitting there by the cable and watching it to charge. You're just going to do something else. So that's a completely different. So yeah, EVs, don't be afraid to public charge, especially if you have a Tesla. And I think a Tesla is a really good choice for if you're planning to go out a little bit further away. Yeah, so like in the UK, I know that the Ionity, they have like a subscriptions for the chargers, and that's going to drop you down to like 42 or 40 something p per kilowatt hour, which is comparable to Tesla, and that's going to give you that kind of really good price per mile. I don't know if you noticed this, but there's one little thing there. Okay, so we've charged nearly 1,500 kilowatt hours, but we've used only 1,234 kilowatt hours for driving. Okay, that's according to the trip computer. Okay, so that's give you about 260 kilowatt hours gone, disappeared somewhere. Yeah, yeah, that actually like 260 kilowatt hours with average price per kilowatt hour is 37.5. That gives you nearly £100 gone to like sentry mode, because it was constantly on when we were away from the car in a city and public charges and like that. Sentry mode, preheating the cabin, like cabin overheat, what else, like battery heating as well. So that's kind of like all comes together, that you don't see it, but yeah, it just uses that energy that you've actually paid for driving. And that's the difference between the petrol and diesel car. You know, you're using the energy, you're paying for something that you're not going to use only for driving. If you're using petrol or diesel, then you're going to use it for driving pretty much all of it. Yeah, you might use a little bit more fuel because of the aircon and heating and things like that, but that's just a minimal difference. With the EV, if you're using the heating and things like that, it's going to just add up to the energy usage. And if you're not using the car, the battery is going to just deplete a little bit, and you're going to lose that money. So that's not going to happen with the petrol diesel, but still £100 included in the whole price. It's still £100 less than the petrol, than our old Skoda with a 42 miles per gallon. Okay, efficiency 3.9 miles per kilowatt hour, 256 watt hours per mile. That's really good. Tesla's always good in efficiency. If you compare this to other makes and models, obviously there are some very comparable makes and models, EVs, that have very similar efficiency. But yeah, this Tesla, it's not new, it's a little bit older, so it's still really good on mileage. The range is actually quite good as well, because it can easily do 200 miles from 80 to like 10% or 5%, something like that. So it's actually quite good without any worry about like you have to slow down because you're going to run out of charge. No, it's actually quite good. And if you do, you have a supercharger network which basically is everywhere in the Europe, so you don't have to worry about that. I don't buy the car to save money, because why would you do that? Why would you buy a car to actually save money on fuel? This is actually the opposite of having fun in a car, having fun in a drive, because driving is one of the best things that you can do in your life. It's so fun, it's so adventurous. Yeah, you can go somewhere, you can go to the middle of the Europe, you can go to the anywhere else in the world, which basically some TV shows they show that you can go even to the North Pole in a car. So the possibilities are endless. So why would you actually think about like, oh, I'm gonna buy the car and this car's gonna use this and this much fuel? it's just like I understand, and I completely understand. Like some people, they think like car is just to go from A to B and that's it, and I completely understand that, yeah. But for some other people, it's more about adventure. Okay, so adventure to go somewhere, adventure to visit some places, to discover some places. And at the moment, this car gave us a lot of really nice memories, and it doesn't matter if it's electric or petrol or diesel, or it's LPG or whatever, hydrogen, I don't care. If the car is giving me what I want, that's all I need. Yeah, and this car gave us really good trip, nice and smooth driving, nice and quiet inside. So this car gave us all of that, all of the adventure, all of the discovering new places. We love it. We absolutely love it. There's no reason why we can't have this car for longer journeys. The infrastructure in Europe is absolutely amazing. We didn't have any problems to find a supercharger. Yeah, Poland, it's a little bit tricky. However, yeah, it's still not a problem. There's plenty of chargers in Poland. Even like in little cities, there were like 3 chargers, so it's actually quite good. Cost-wise, it was actually quite fine, £100 less than a Skoda, and we've done that same trip 3 times in our Skoda and in our previous cars as well. So yeah, it was actually quite fine. We didn't feel like we spending too much money on that, so that's great. Comfort, with the comfort, it was actually quite fine. On the motorway, you don't feel that this car is actually stiff on suspension. It drives really smoothly, and obviously the autopilot, enhanced autopilot, it behaves really nicely, so you can just relax a little bit while you're driving for a longer period of time. So it's actually quite good. Yeah, again, it just doesn't make any issues on the long journeys. Yeah, you have to stop like every 3.5, 4 hours maybe, but that's the only downside to it. And traveling with the whole family and the dog, you will stop every 3-4 hours anyway. We did that same trip in a Skoda, and we did stop every 3-4 hours. I've never actually used the whole tank of fuel in Skoda, because I always had to stop because someone wanted to go to the toilet. So this car, for us, it's perfect. It just proves that it is actually quite perfect for our family, and I can imagine there are plenty of other families that they will experience the same thing. So if you worry about driving in Europe in an electric car, don't worry, you'll be fine. Yeah, you'll be fine. The infrastructure is absolutely amazing, especially if you're going to use the Tesla superchargers, because many of them, they are open to other makes and models, so there's nothing to worry about. Thank you for watching all of my videos. Subscribe if you didn't, like, and see you in the next video.
Way too hard. Model 3, Model 3, Model 3. Nearly 5K, baby, watch me breathe. Model 3, Model 3, Model 3. Cross Euro clean, now I'm overseas. Model 3, Model 3, Model 3. Charge up quick and I'm back on the key. Model 3, Model 3, Model 3. 5,000 miles and it still looks sweet.